What's going on, guys?
Looks like it's still is it broadcasting? I can't even tell.
It says live on my side.
Oh, here we go.
They take a little while.
All righty. Thank you
Okay.
all for joining Indie Hour. Today we're going to talk with the creator of Oddity. The Indie Hour has the dubious distinction of being one of the first comic YouTube shows that doesn't have a Jeremy associated with it.
They take a little while.
All righty. Thank you all for joining Indie Hour. Yeah, I got to turn the sound off here. Creator of Oddity. You still hear me?
I can still hear you. It got a little robotic there for a minute, but you're good now.
All right, can you hear me now?
All right.
Yeah,
I am totally booming this broadcast. Give me just a second here. Well,
You still hear me?
I just need to get to...
I can still hear you. It got a little robotic there.
Yeah, this is me. There we go.
You're good now.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
Sorry,
We're good?
everybody. We should be good to go right now.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
All right. Probably blew that joke. All right, everybody. How's it going? I was almost a little late today because we ran out to the comic store, and then my van blew a tire, and all of our tires were old, so we had to replace all of them. And at the Walmart, you never know when they're going to be done.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. All right, so I went to the store today, and I hadn't really been in probably 3 weeks almost because of the holidays, so I got really busy. So I picked up my pull list, and there was only one thing waiting for me. So my usual pull list, this is the Silencer, number 12. I haven't read it yet because I got so busy today. So off of my pull list, that one's it's usually pretty good. I picked up from Boom Studios, Firefly number 2. We picked up Firefly. It's one I haven't read yet. What happens a lot of times is the books will build up, and then I'll get like 10 issues in, and I still haven't read them. So then I'll sit down and I'll just read through them. And then I picked up Superior Spider-Man number 1. I haven't been collecting any of these Spider-Geddon, Spider-Verse stuff, but I figured I'd pick that one up and check it out. So let's see. You got any big ones on your pull list that you're recommending? That you recommend?
Right here, no. At the moment, I've been reading older comics, going back to my stuff that I read as a kid. I just went back and read Swamp Thing, the Alan Moore run, recently. Yeah, I just love the old school stuff. Lately, it's been hard for me to really get into any of the more current comics. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's a new number 1 out every couple weeks, it seems like, and it's just hard for me to.
What was when you started collecting comics? What was new? When did you start collecting?
Oh, so early '90s, and it would be it was Spawn, it was it was all the Image comics. That's what really got me into it. Jim Lee, his X-Men stuff, the old weird X-Men before they were grilling wieners at the grill out and stuff like that. Wolverine using his claws as kebabs and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, there's people that enjoy that stuff, and that's cool. It's just not my thing. And lately, I just haven't been able to get into a lot of the Marvel titles. And yeah, I think the most recent run I read was the Batman with Snyder and Greg Capullo. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing on the regular I'm collecting on the mainstream is a Silencer. That's actually a really good thing.
Yeah, I have heard good things about Silencer.
I've been collecting from Marvel. I've actually been collecting the new the Infinity Warp stuff where they get the mixed characters.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those have actually been pretty good. I really like those. But as soon as that runs over, I can't think of anything. I tried to pick up Conan today.
Yeah.
But apparently Diamond, they shipped a lot of them and they were damages.
Mm-hmm.
So I neglected to let my store know to put it on my pull list. so they sold out of them before I got there. So I'll be on the
Yeah,
pre-order for the next set when those come in.
gotcha. Yeah, but no, like lately I've been so busy with doing my own thing. I'm not trying to do a segue here or anything, but I've just been way too busy to read or anything. I've got my 9 to 5 job, and then I've got a family I take care of, and then when everyone else is asleep, I draw my creepy little character and make this story. So I don't have too much time to really do too much reading these days, but
Yeah, it takes me a while to catch up because again,
yeah.
I'll buy them. And I have a whole bunch that I haven't read yet, and it's
Uh-huh.
Exo Manowar. I'm collecting. I'm way behind on that one, but it was
Yeah.
good when I was reading it. It was a really good short run that I was on,
Hmm.
and I just haven't. I've been buying them, but I haven't. We've been buying these Dark Crystal books, which actually have been really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, we got they did a story card cover, and then they started a new one.
Okay.
When I started collecting, the first comic I collected to actually collect was
Hmm.
original Ninja Turtles number 10.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
1986. All right. Well, they're asking about you in the chat. They're asking about your creepy little creature.
Oh, really?
But we can jump to news later. If you want to go ahead, let's start talking about your comic.
Okay. Well, the name of the story is Oddity, and it's basically a throwback to like 80s goofy, over the top horror, and you know, it's it's just a fun comic. This isn't like some Charles Dickens type writing or anything. It's nothing that's too deep or anything like that. It's just a superficial, fun, goofball horror comic. And
A lot of
that's all I want it to be. I don't want it to be, I don't want people to look at any of my work later on and be like, oh, this was, no, it's a fun comic, and that's all I want. There's no political agenda behind it because it's a frog. Like, I've gotten a few messages where people are like, is that Pepe and stuff? And I'm like, no, it's not, it's not Pepe. But yeah, and I was a big fan of like I said, I read Swamp Thing recently. Um, Again, I've read it several times in my life, but I've always been a fan of. I've just had an affinity to like the swamp settings. It sounds goofy, but yeah, I've always been into it. I've always found the scenery very interesting and pretty cool, and um, I really wanted to play with the idea of this character, this frog character, who's kind of like the guardian of this bayou, and in this bayou, um, there was there was some kind of accident earlier on, and it created the swamp to become like a toxic swamp, and that's kind of like how this character fell into this position, and his whole existence is to keep humans away from this area. And I don't want to go too more into detail on the storyline, but it's going to be a lot of over the top goofy horror, a little bit of gore, and just you know it's just going to be a fun book. Nothing, you know no political craziness or anything like that. And that's what I want in my comics these days. I want to be entertained. I want to read stuff that has a little nostalgia to it, something that takes me back to my childhood, where I didn't have to worry about all the politics that get you know slid into comics, and people, I'm just not about that. So that's
So
kind of like, excuse me.
I'm sorry, are you working on it digitally or do you draw, you hand draw?
Yes, I do. This thing has been entirely made on my iPad Pro.
Okay.
Um, from the from my rough layouts to the cleaned up line work, my inks, everything, the coloring, I do everything on that, and it records everything I do. So I take all the recordings and I put it up on my YouTube channel so people can see all my idiot mistakes that I do, and they can witness my OCD firsthand, where I go in and make a bunch of marks that no one will ever see or care about. So yeah, and then
what's your YouTube channel?
my YouTube channel is Swains. You can catch it off my Twitter. My Twitter handle is Swains_07, and yeah, so
We'll
that's where.
make sure to throw that into the description.
Yeah, definitely.
How long
And
have you been working on this?
I actually started this character back in high school. So back in, I think the first time I drew this character was 99, 2000 maybe. And throughout the years, I just kind of messed with him, and he just evolved. And at this point, I'm 35 years old. Like, this character just has a lot of things. Like, a lot of his elements were things that I was into growing up. Like, he's got like this skateboard vibe to him. The whole horror thing, like, that was a huge thing I was into as a kid growing up. He's kind of There's a few nods to like punk rock culture, and you know maybe a little bit of drug reference here or there. Not that I was big into drugs or anything like that, but yeah, his was part of my growing up and stuff. So like, there's you know there's just stuff that I was into growing up, and I projected it onto this character. I know some people get a little pissy and stuff, and they say stuff like, you can tell the artist projected himself on this and that. And well, like, when you're creating something out of nothing, like, that's never true. You're not creating in a void ever. So you're always going to be taking some influences and stuff from the style of my art to, what my art's about. This is all stuff that I liked in my life and I thought was fun, and hopefully other people think's fun. Like, and that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah,
Um,
you followed me the other day, and I saw the picture. I'm like, how did this get under my radar? I mean, you're pretty good at picking up some of these things. And I know there was a couple of other guys that commented like, yeah, this looks really cool.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate that, and that it caught your guys' eye and stuff. I'm working with a writer now, and the way we're actually doing this book is I'm doing it all visually, which a lot of people probably think is silly and whatever, but I'm drawing it out visually, and I'm having a writer. Like, I have a rough idea of my story, and then I have a writer come in, and he's doing the dialogue for me, and you know making the story a little more a little more interesting, a little more fun and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of the process of it. And because honestly, I was sick of waiting on writers, and I just wanted to make this thing, and so that's what I did.
Cool. That's awesome. I know. Oh my god, I completely forgot my question. So, have you always wanted to be an artist? Have you been doing it since you were like little and stuff?
I've been drawing since I can remember. Like, I've always been into drawing, and I would draw mostly from my head, like, just characters. It was always characters. It was always like pinup type art, like not cheesecake sexy lady pinup, but like, like comic book cover stuff like that. This character in this, superhero pose, whatever. Like, I've always been into that. I don't know why. I always gravitated towards it, and I always drew kind of weird, creepy stuff. I mean, yeah, I got some funny stories about that growing up. Like, everything I would draw, my dad would take it. He'd take it to his work and he'd put it in his office. And he'd have all these insane drawings that I drew. And some of them were like skulls and daggers, like daggers and skulls, and bleeding skulls or something like that. And my dad's like
You were a
the
boy.
most mellow guy. What's that?
You were definitely a boy.
Yes, exactly. So he took all these drawings to his work, and he still hangs my drawings up, which is hilarious. But he put these all up, and this woman working next to him saw these drawings, and she was like, um, I have a friend that's a child psychologist, and I would really like to take these to her because, and my dad's like, go for it, whatever. So yeah, she took the pictures to the psychologist, and she was like, "No, this is normal stuff boys draw. He's just a little more detailed."
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I got
I'm watching one of your videos on one of my other screens right now of you of
oh,
one of your drawings.
okay.
I'm thinking Spider-Man influence. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of Spider-Man
definitely.
poses for sure. He's got that super kind of flexible body kind of thing
Oh
going.
yeah. Well, see, I love dynamic poses. Like I love characters in the dynamic pose, and I don't know, it like fulfills my OCD
Yeah.
somehow, like getting the perfect pose. So, when I'm drawing out a pose for this guy, like he's got these long limbs and stuff, it's so much fun to like make them all twisting, and since he's not completely like humanoid, like you can get away with the anatomy and fudging things around, and it can be very stylistic and overall just fun to me, at least. Other people might look at it and think it's ridiculous, and that's fine.
But
People can do that.
if you're gonna draw a character, go all out.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want it to be appealing. So yeah, but
We got somebody asking. We got Cheyenne70. Thank you for showing up. We actually had a really really cool conversation before the broadcast.
mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the other characters in the book?
Yeah. So you know, on Instagram, I have a few people that have followed me for a couple years, and um, they've always been very supportive of me. They've always given me um, always not I mean always good feedback, and these are people I don't even know. So when it came to some of the secondary characters and stuff, um, I I sent out emails to these people, and I was like, hey, you want to be in this book? And there a lot of people were like, yeah, man, like they couldn't believe it. They're like, do I pay you or something? I'm like, no, like I'm doing this as a thank you, for being supportive of me, through the years, because making a living off of art is not easy at all, as most people know or figure. But the other characters within the book. So what I was getting at was saying that was one of the guys from my Instagram. He's now in as the sheriff, and he will be playing a major part, basically because he knows the secrets of the swamp, and he doesn't want people, going into this area and getting infected and mutating into these gnarly creatures and stuff like that.
So,
So
what is Oddity the name of the character?
it's honestly, it is still up in the air for what I'm going to do with the name of the character, because like Oddity describes so many different aspects of this book.
Mhm.
Because first of all, the book's just odd. It's just weird. Like it's just, there's just odd stuff going on in it, and it's just kind of like layered throughout the book. And I don't mind for the character's name to be that. It's whatever. Like, this book's not going to be finished for probably another, the soonest would probably be 6, 8 months. I mean, I'm doing all the drawing, all the coloring and all that. So it, and I only get to work so many hours a night on it because, I got a 9 to 5 job. I got my family. Those things are always,
Yeah,
the first things I take care of.
yeah,
But
a lot of life kind of gets in the way of the creative.
oh yeah, life's always always right there. The other day I was trying to stream, and all of a sudden my son wakes up at midnight and comes running into my studio, and he's like just in underwear, and he's screaming at me like, "Daddy!" And I'm like, "What in the world is going on here? Like, I can't do anything." I mean, it's pretty insane. But anyways, back to the characters. It's like I said, this is just going to be a fun book. You can see some of the characters in the pages I've released already. They're very swamp type people. You know, they're stereotypical. Probably piss some people off. I don't know. Like whatever. Um, but no, it's all coming together, and um, as I go along, I'm releasing every bit of art I've done so far, all the promo, everything. There's nothing that I've done that hasn't been shown on social media or on my YouTube channel or anything like that. Like everything, every step of the way, it's all being documented, and
I advise you. Like I said, I've been looking while you've been talking. I've been looking at some of
mhm,
your videos, and it's really cool to watch the process.
mhm.
And it looks, I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a really fun book.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, honestly. And I'm doing like I'm not taking any shortcuts. I'm not taking photos off of Google and like, you know, tracing them. I'm not doing any of that. Like when I need a pose and I can't get it by doing a simple mannequin, like I'm on the ground and I've got my 8-year-old daughter above me with a camera taking pictures so I can get the pose right, the angle right. And this is I hate when people say passion project because it just makes me grit my teeth. I hate that. But this is honestly what it is. It is something that I've always wanted to do, and you know, after seeing other indie books take off, and you know, some of the positive feedback I've seen within the online communities, like I was like, screw it, I'm just going to do it, and you know,
Now you're
so
saying you'll be done the book, you'll be done drawing it. Are you coloring it too, or?
I'm coloring it too. You'll see my coloring process and all that stuff. So yeah, drawing, inking, coloring. It's a lot of work.
You'll be done in about
So
6 or 8 months. Do you have a time
yeah,
for when you'll be dropping your Indiegogo?
I'm actually going to release the Indiegogo probably I would like to do it as soon as possible in the first quarter of this year. Um, then people will be able to watch me. Um, I, they'll be able to see more of the process. I'll get more input before, you know, the book's completely finished. And I've seen other people do it. I don't always agree with that. Like some people say, "Oh, well, it's going to be done in 6 months," and then 6 months comes and goes, and um, you're not hearing much about it, and you're wondering when this is going to drop, and
Yeah, I'm
that's
writing some stuff right now, and I'm working with an artist. And one of
mhm.
my big things is when we finally drop an Indiegogo is I don't want to. I want the customer, I want the people who are backing, I want them to get a book at when I say the book is supposed to come
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
And
Yes.
I understand. Like I've been I was on Twitter last night, back and forth with Ethan's book because his book is late, which
Yeah.
to me is fine because I watch his drawing videos and I see his,
Uh-huh.
and I want a great book. I don't need it to be exactly on time. I want
Uh-huh.
a great book. But at the same time,
You
if
want a book.
you're working at a certain pace, then you can say, all right, I want to make sure maybe drop them. And this is my feeling about it is I
Uh-huh.
would much rather have the book closer to finished when I'm ready to drop it because I'm
Mhm.
not doing the art. I'm doing just the writing. So
Yeah.
when I drop the Indiegogo, I'm not in control of a lot of that. And
Exactly. I completely agree with you there.
so
See,
for me being,
I know how long it's taken me. So,
but I mean,
ex
some people, as long as you know what your pace is,
mhm.
and you're comfortable with it, that's drop your Indiegogo whenever
Yeah.
you're comfortable with that. But I
Mhm.
mean, that's my personal take on it.
Yeah. And no, I agree completely with you because I mean, when you're writing it, that's what you do. You wrote it and it's done. You're good to go. The artist, I mean, I feel bad for people that have to work with artists, honestly, because, being one, I know like it's frustrating dealing with myself sometimes. I
Mhm.
can't imagine, you know, giving someone deadlines and, you know, them being flaky or not hitting deadlines and,
I
like,
know personally I need that structure to keep myself in line, or
uh-huh,
I kind of need that outside influence.
yeah.
Cheyenne 70 again. She asked. She said you should put your daughter in the book somewhere.
She'll probably pop up somewhere, I'm sure. The
Sure.
Actually with the main character, the like both my kids are, or they're redheads and I mean more orange than anything. And when my son was first born, he had this hair that shot out the front, like just like the frog character. So like when I first drew this character, he didn't have this tuft of hair coming out or anything like that. But I thought I'd throw it in there, and
That's
you
cool.
know, it was just a fun little thing, I guess. So yeah, but now kids will probably show up at some point, I'm sure. I mean, random people from Instagram are showing up in it, so why not? Right?
You're gonna throw randos in there. You might as well throw somebody you know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, yeah, but the randos, I don't know if they know, but they'll probably be killed off eventually. So,
Don't tell them. Let them find out. Have it like be
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how you do it.
really important in the book. Oh my god!
Yes, you no longer have a face. Yeah, it'll be fun stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So, no, but Mike, like I said, I've just been staying busy with it. I release every bit of art I do so people can see it. I mean, I'm all open for critiques and people can, you know, let me have it online. I don't care. Like, I'm all about feedback, positive, criticism, whatever. Like,
Yeah. Are you entirely self-taught or?
I actually went to it's called CCAD, which sounds like some kind of mental disorder, which probably is, but it's the Columbus College of Art and Design, and it's based right here in Columbus, Ohio. And so I was taught traditionally, and until I was in my mid 20s, I never touched digital art. Like, not, I didn't do anything digitally, and I actually looked down at digital at one point in my life. I was like, that's cheating and stuff like that. And then you get older and you're like, it's just another tool. And yeah, it makes things infinitely easier. But
Very
at
little
the same, oh,
actually.
sorry, go on.
Very little in life is actually cheating.
Yeah,
Well, some people consider cheating to me is like, well, as long as it's not illegal and as long as inside the
right.
frame is cheating, but
Yeah,
drawing on your computer isn't cheating.
yeah. Yeah, I know. So, no, there's still people that look down at
Yeah,
whatever. Like, I still draw traditionally at times. It's just, it when you've got this technology right there, it's kind of like, makes life a little easier. And especially when you're taking on a giant workload of drawing and coloring and all of that, it's one less headache. So,
yeah. Well, plus it's a lot easier to erase stuff and
oh yeah, I mean
and
you just delete it. It's it's amazing. Yeah, so but at the same time, when you do things digitally, if you don't have like solid fundamentals with drawing and composition, perspective and color and all that, if you don't have those, like it's the computer, unless you trace it or you manipulate photos, like it's not going to make you a better artist. Like
you
it
still
makes you mess up faster. That's all. That's pretty much what it does. So
yeah, you still
that's
have to know your you still have to know your basic anatomy and you still have to know
Oh yeah.
perspectives and all that other stuff. That none of that stuff
Yeah.
is because you're on an iPad.
Yeah. Yeah. You still need all that stuff. And like I said, I don't pull photos in and trace them or anything like that. I know. I mean, even there's pros that do it, and if people do that, that's fine. Like that's their method, and
Well, I was
that's.
watching something and somebody it was I think it was on Twitter or one of these things where what
Hmm.
they showed where they found a photo reference of like an old lady, and they said,
Yeah.
"Look, this particular artist, I don't remember who the artist was. I wouldn't call him out anyway, but and they, like 4 or 5 different times where he used the same old lady for reference
Oh yeah.
in like a Marvel comic.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Well, who was that one artist? Was it Land? Greg Land, I think it was. The guy that just basically traced everything for uh I mean he traced everything. They found like some of the stuff was taken from like pornographic magazines and
Oh,
stuff. It
I vaguely remember
like
something about that.
yeah, I think there's a website dedicated. I mean, whatever. I mean, he got the job done. So, but I know
They
it.
get paid in one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah. That's not my thing, but you know, more power to him, whatever. So,
Well,
yeah, but
I find, and I find that stuff tends to look more stiff though,
oh yeah, uh-huh.
because I'm
Yeah.
like what you're doing, like with the. I love that pose that you got going on. It's
Uh-huh.
very. Sometimes you need something that's a little bit unreal, like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's
Yeah.
crazy wild poses.
Hmm.
As long it adds a lot to it. It adds more action to it, and
Yeah.
it's more fun to look at.
There's more movement and
Mhm.
energy within the pose, and you get that by doing like very fast sketches, like expressive drawing. Like you capture the movement real quick. You don't sit there and like, you know, go over the drawing 100 times or anything like that. You just get the pose down, you got the energy, you draw it down real fast. And that one of the hardest things as an artist is to take a drawing like that, and then, at least for me as an artist, is to take a drawing like that and then clean it up and make it look very pristine and finished, but to maintain that energy within that drawing, because many times people lose it within the drawing of cleaning it up and you know um, refining the drawing over and over and over. You kind of People tend to lose that. So that's uh that's something I've always worked at, though. I've always wanted to keep the energy and also have a clean looking drawing. You know.
My wife
So
wants to know. And this is kind of interesting.
mhm.
How the writing process, because you said you have a writer who kind of writes after the fact. So
Uh-huh.
how does that work?
Well, how it's gone so far is I do my layouts, like my quick layouts, and I've got the basic idea in my head. And then with the layout, it's drawn really quick, and you know, I even put words in to describe what I'm pointing at in the drawing. So he has an idea of, what's going on in that scene. But it's just throwing down as much information for him to understand. And then he goes in and does his own twist on things. And then he might say, "Oh, we should throw this in here, add that, take this out." And we just bounce back and forth. And it's really easy to do because he's my brother. And
Oh,
we
your
just
brother's good writing?
yeah, yeah. He's a very good writer. So everything works out, and we just yell at each other, and we're very honest with each other. So it all works out.
Well, that's
So
really cool.
yeah, we it took a while for both of us to do it because he's always been very into. Well, he was a history major, and he is very into South American history and stuff. So he's incorporating some of those aspects into this story as well. So um, which it's just more craziness into this insane book that we're doing. But no, so we just bounce ideas off each other, and then once once we know exactly how we want this scene laid out and what people are going to be saying and what's going on, then I go in and I clean the drawing up, or I clean the layout up, and then I clean the drawing, and then it's another 20 to 30 hours of me cleaning up drawings and then throwing the color in.
Have you
So,
ever drawn something out and then he looks at it and he's like, I think this story might be better this way, and have you changed something or?
well, that's why we do. They're like thumbnail layouts, so
Okay.
that's why we do. Um, that's why we do those. So, like, if he has an idea that works, I can throw it in, and it's not something that I spend hours and hours drawing out or anything like that. So, um, I mean, there's other artists that have done it like this, and um, it's just a different take on it. I mean, there's many different ways to do things, and this is just, you know, our way. This is how it's worked for us so far, and you know, and
No,
we're both happy
you
with the results.
it's a
So,
cool way to do the process, right back and forth right there.
uh-huh, yeah, yep. I mean, he's over, or he's down in Cincinnati, so that's about an hour and a half away from me. So it's a lot of FaceTime and hanging up and yelling at each other. It's fun. It's a
That's
good
cool.
time. We should probably just stream us doing this stuff. I'm sure people would be really entertained with that.
I thought about that too, because with the artists I'm working with, we haven't done a whole lot.
Hmm.
I mean, we worked, we did a little 9-page comic last summer.
Hmm.
I always thought it'd be cool to do where because we're putting together, we're working on a couple projects. Take one of the projects we're working on, and actually for a little bit, he does the thumb. You know, I have the script up. He does the thumbnails, and then
Hmm.
we go over. Well, maybe it would look better this way or that
Yeah.
way. Because what I do is I'll write it, and even when I'm writing the panel descriptions, to me that's just in my head how I like
Hmm.
how I get the story going. But when I give it
Yeah.
to him, I'm like, all right, these are suggestions for panel descriptions. But if you think it looks better a different way, go ahead and
Hmm.
do it a different way. You're the
Yeah.
artist. I'll respect your opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge on you because I've worked with a few writers, and they write things down, and and then that's that. They're like, this is what I want. And it's like, okay, well, that's what you want, and then you draw it out, and you're like, we could change the camera angle and stuff like that, and they're like, no, we're doing it this way, and it's like, well, okay, if that's what you want. And I don't know how many projects
The
I've
story comes
started.
together, because my whole point is the story. As long as the story comes together,
Hmm.
where we get to the same place.
Yeah, exactly. And no, but that's big on you though, to let your artist be an artist, because you know
That's why
some people.
I'm working with them. If I could draw
Yeah,
the thing myself, I'd draw the thing myself and do it all that. But
yeah,
the artist, that's his whole job is the visuals.
exactly.
If
And
if he doesn't think something works, then I'm going to lay it on him to okay.
yeah, no, but that's how it should be.
Because he really likes the art that he's seen so far.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Just
I really appreciate it.
post the link again to your YouTube channel. Watch his videos. It's really interesting watching his process.
Yeah, I tried to do voiceover on them, but I've got such a nasally, disgusting noise voice that I play it back before I post it up. I'm like, you know what? No one needs to hear my stupid voice, so I just let it play out, and people can watch it and have their own soundtrack going.
I don't think I'm not a particular fan of my own voice either. I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, yeah. I see. I never stream or anything like that until recently, so it's all new to me. It's all.
Yeah, I thought I could be the next Zach, but I'm just not as I just don't have the time to do the videos all the time.
Yeah. Oh, you'll.
Whenever I think I've got something important, I'll put something up. I did a few reviews. I like doing the kind of production videos where you edit it and you do all this, put all the pictures in and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And that's fun, but I don't really have time to do as many of those as I'd like.
Mhm. No, yeah, I don't have anything important to say. Like, you know, I don't even like going on about, you know, my own work and stuff, but you know, it's part of, you know, it's part of getting your stuff out there. You got to do it. Like if you
Yeah.
want people to check it out and stuff. And
Nobody's gonna toot your horn for you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, just this past week on Twitter, I've just been pushing the stuff out there, and people want to know more about it, and they want to know you know, the story behind the book. And you know, I didn't want to get into it too much here, and you know, because like there's still a lot to be done on the book, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so there's going to be things that change and stuff like that. But the general idea for this first book is laid out, and um, now I'm just excited to reveal it to people and then finally have the book ready to go. And then, you know, midway through the year, you know, somewhere around there.
He has no problem with the sound of your voice, just so you know.
Who said that?
Cheyenne 7 says, "Sound good from here." I'm pretty sure she doesn't. She's talking about your voice.
Lies. All lies. But no, I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. So now, and when do you plan on dropping your Indiegogo?
Oh, it's gonna be a little. We did the little 9-pager, and then
Hmm.
that character we wanted. I've got a whole kind of story arc going for that, a
Hmm.
three issue deal. But I still got.
Cool, cool.
I wrote the first one, and I still got to tweak that one pretty good. And then
Okay.
he had an idea. The artist Paul Dozier. If you guys look at @ZZombie13, check him out and give him a
Okay.
follow. He he had another idea that he wanted to do. It was very he. What's fun about his style is that he can do different styles. He
Yeah.
for ours is kind of a serious kind of comic booky look, and then he
Hmm.
does stuff like very cartoony look.
Yeah.
And for this book, we're actually doing kind of a it's like a parody Dr. Seuss book. So
Okay.
so it's not gonna be straight Dr. Seuss like one page. He's gonna do
Hmm.
also kind of semi comic book where there's panel layouts and stuff. And I'm writing it as in stanzas like a Dr. Seuss kind of
Hmm.
thing. And
Oh, that's
he's
sweet.
drawing it out, and it's basically his concept, and
Hmm.
I'm going to be writing it, and obviously he's drawing it, and so that one we're just really starting to get going right now.
Yeah.
So that we're going to do that one, and like I said, I want to wait till it's done, or at least close to done,
Hmm.
before we drop an Indiegogo on that one.
Yeah.
Next project, I had an idea for a Christmas book, a Christmas comic, which it's gonna be funny, and I want it to be the ultimate Christmas comic book about Santa
Yeah.
Claus, and basically the basic premise is Santa Claus, and like all on every Christmas movie, Christmas is about to be destroyed, Christmas
Of
has
course.
gone wrong, and this is a book about Santa Claus who's just sick of it every year Christmas. And so we're gonna play with that concept. I'm gonna throw in all kinds of Christmas movie tropes and Santa Claus tropes and the
Hmm.
whole. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And
Cool.
then
Cool.
after that, those are gonna be kind of shorter stuff. One offs. And
Hmm.
then after we've done that and kind of played with those, then I think we're gonna go with the bigger superhero-y 3-issue deal.
Sweet. No, that's cool. Sounds like you guys got uh, your hands full for the time being.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want because I got a bunch of other ideas, but I've only got one artist, and I can't keep
Yeah. Uh-huh.
ideas on him because he's only got so much time in the day. Plus, he's doing commissions, and we're kind of owning each other's. That we're kind of splitting ownership of the properties and stuff because
Yeah.
neither one of us has any money to pay each other. So
Yeah.
it's once we drop the Indiegogo, then we work out all the paying and that kind of stuff. You got to make
Yeah.
enough money to cover making stuff a priority.
Uh-huh.
Jam Create
No.
Jam Creates asks, how long ago did you start posting stuff about Oddity? He only noticed it about a week ago, and
Oh.
I went to your page and I saw that you were posting some stuff in November. I don't remember how far back I went, and that's
Oh,
why I said you were kind of flying under the radar because
uh-huh.
usually I'm pretty good at picking up these little stuff, and I totally missed it until about his time, about a week ago.
Yeah, I actually started posting stuff probably in, I would say, June. Yeah, probably around June, maybe early July of 2018. And I I've just it's been a whole feel out process so far. I I released this image and it got a reaction, and I was like, you know what? P- And the thing is, like, this character is a character I've been messing with for years, and then my wife one day was just like, you should just do that character, and I was like, he's a frog, and like Ethan's dropping this book, and I
You know what?
know I'm
I'm
like,
going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what happened with the other book we're working on. It's called
uh-huh.
Cyberlinks, right?
It's
So
called what?
we dropped it, and then he was doing the cyber frog thing, and okay, that's all right. And then he was talking about because he created X-23 for Marvel, or at
Yeah,
least
yeah, yeah.
the original concept, and her name
Hmm.
was Lynx. And for a couple of weeks, he was talking with Mike Miller about doing a Lynx character
Oh
on
God.
and then Lynx. I'm like, people gonna think I'm totally ripping him off. And I was like, I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, now I got to change the name of the character, blah blah. And I got on Doug Staples' show, and I was talking to him, and I brought up, he's like, no, don't do that. He's
Yeah,
like, keep the name of the character. Nobody cares.
yeah. Well,
Freaking out. I'm
you
like,
know,
oh my God, I can't believe this.
it's crazy though. That is crazy though.
And like,
To
that's the hardest part is naming a superhero. I swear to God,
yeah.
the hardest part of writing it is because everything's taken. It seems like everything's taken.
Oh yeah.
And you're trying to
Exactly.
put words together that like, well, this sound good to this word, and you give.
Yeah. I know. And like naming this character, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just do it. I'm like, it kind of sounds like a weird name to call someone, but like what the hell is Superman? Like that's the
Yeah.
worst name. That's the worst name ever. And there's all sorts of horrible names, but once it's said enough times by so many people, it just kind of gets accepted. People are
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So, you know, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny that you said that the name and all that.
Yeah, it was.
But
Oh my God, it was. I was freaking out for like 2 weeks. I was like, "What am I gonna do? Now I gotta rename the character."
yeah, that would be a nightmare though. But yeah, stick with it. I mean, I'm to the point now where I'm like, if people think this is like a Cyber Frog book, then you're like, first of all, I've never read a Cyber Frog book. I have no clue, you know, what his is going, like what really his is about or anything like that. And this is more like this psychedelic, like just horror story, like goofy horror story, not like, some
I like
sadistic,
that the comic says you should give him a regular like Joe Schmo name.
right? That's pretty funny though. That is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. We'll see.
Like when I said when you first followed me and then I saw the picture, I was like, wow, that's really cool. It really stood out. And there was a couple of guys. I think Jam might have been even one of the ones. Uh, Jam Creates might have been one of the ones that was like, yeah, that looks really cool. It's a really cool cover and really it seems like it tells you a lot about the character. You get the big
Yeah.
dynamic pose, you get the tongue thing sticking out, you get really nice colors. And to
Hmm.
me, when you're looking at the rack, when I go to the rack and I'm looking at something I haven't read before, looking at all the indies,
Hmm.
look at that on the shelf, and you're like, that really stands out. And
Yeah.
that's what you want to see. You want to see, oh, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot of action. Again, with the
Uh-huh.
dynamic poses and stuff like that. That looks like
Yeah.
a lot of action. The
And
character's weird, and it looks that's something I would check out. I would definitely pick up off the shelf.
yeah, exactly. And you know, I think one of the reasons I was always into, or I got into doing covers, well, I know why I got into it was with when I'd go to the comic book store and that's what I do. Like I didn't care at all about the interiors. Like I would look for the coolest looking cover and that's what I would pick up. And Yeah, I think I even did that a couple times with CDs back in the day. If I saw a really cool CD cover, I think I would just pick that out and be like, screw it, just buy it. But no, I've always loved cover art and stuff like that.
Most of the 90s,
So,
those are the image books.
oh
Everybody,
yeah,
everybody on the cover. You had a bunch of guys with huge guns,
yeah, they're
girls with boobs, and their stuff hanging up their ass and that kind of stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's what gets your attention.
uh-huh. Yeah, dude. One of the saddest days of my artist career was when I found an old sketchbook of mine, and I was looking at the drawing, and I was like, I mean, this was probably from when I was like 10 or 11. I'm looking at it, and it's a drawing of Cable, and it was a Rob Liefeld drawing that I used for inspiration. Like that's what I copied actually, and like I knew it right off the bat just by the proportions and you know just
Well,
the
I
ridiculous.
found an old sketchbook. I don't draw anymore, but when I was a kid, I used
Mhm.
to draw a lot. And I found an old sketchbook, and I was looking at some of the characters, and almost every character was a different version of the Max. They all had like the T, and I knew, and I wasn't doing it because I was trying to create new characters. It was
Uh-huh.
like at the time I remember doing it. I was like, well, since that was my favorite character, it was all kind of parody-ish type.
Uh-huh.
But every single character in my in my little sketchbook, they were all different variations of the Max. Gigantic, oversized muscles, a weird neck
Uh-huh.
with the big teeth that's sticking out.
Yeah, just two big spikes for arms,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, dude. I remember getting the Max when I was a kid. That was one of those books that caught my eye walking by. That Spawn, like I have a
I'll still,
million
if I see
Spawn
a
books.
Sam Keith book, I'll pick it up off the shelf. Sam
Uh-huh.
Keith or what's the guy that used to do Lobo?
I
I'm sure somebody knows. I completely forgot. But yeah, they have a similar like over the top style.
uh No, but and how like I still I still see some amazing covers, of course, in the comic book store, and you know, I really appreciate the artists and their work and stuff, but I just none of the books
Not
really.
too
I
much.
just can't get into them. Like it's sad. It's like I'll give it a shot, and you know, I'll
Well,
read some of it, and then I just lose interest in it.
yeah, we were at the store today picking up my pulls, and my wife picked up. It was a Rainbow Bright comic, and she picked it
Uh-huh.
up and it was drawn like the cover was all 80s style.
Yeah.
It was the 80s Rainbow Bright. And she's like, "Oh, that's cool." She picks it up and she opened it up, and it was like it almost looked like that She-Ra.
Yes.
It was the same kind of art style as that Netflix She-Ra. That kind of
Oh, really?
art style, yeah. And she was really disappointed. She's like, "Oh, I really wanted to see this," and then you open it up and it's completely different. And you, I guess you can do that, and sometimes, but
Yeah.
sometimes people, if you don't know what you're expecting, and you get like a big
Mhm.
name cover, like a Simon Bisley or a Sam Keith or something
Yeah.
like that, and then you go inside and it's a lesser known artist or it's a completely
Uh-huh.
art style. Then a lot of times,
Sorry, you're breaking up. You went
oh,
robotic on me.
all right, how about that?
Okay. No, you're good now. You're
Okay,
good now. Yeah, no, I agree. Like when when I pick up a book, I want the art to be good throughout. Like I'm not saying that the interior has to be as polished or, as intriguing as the cover, but I at least want them to try to draw hands
yeah,
and faces. Like that's usually cool. Like when they try, because like
I'm not
I don't
too
know.
critic. Like most of the time, when I read a comic, if it's really really good, the art, then I'll
Mhm.
notice. If the art's passable and the story's decent, then I'll give it a pass as far as it's good enough. Well,
Mhm.
I can still enjoy the comic. But sometimes
Yeah.
you'll look at something and it's just like, why is their neck all crooked? What this just, I mean, and they say, oh well, it's a different art style. Well, your art style sucks.
No, it's
It doesn't-
it's just I don't get it, man. Like I never got that with artists, and they're like, "Well, this is just how I draw things." It's like, well, you draw it wrong. Like it's just it's.
yeah.
I mean, if you draw something and it's wrong but looks cool, like if it's good design,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, that's fine. Like that's a lot of Pixar and stuff like that. They do that. Like that's fine. But when you're stuck in this weird in between of like good design and like, or bad design and bad drawing, and then they're just like, oh, this is just my style. I'm like, no, you didn't try, or you haven't put the hours into drawing. Like when I see artists that work for Marvel or DC, and and they are subpar, and I see that, and I look at all these people, these indie artists and stuff. I'm like, why are they not? Why aren't they drawing these books? Like, why do they have some clown that they found on, I don't know, Tumblr or
Yeah.
whatever? They got because they pay less. They
Oh,
can pay them less, and and
uh,
they still sell the book.
they should make less books and pay for better artists.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's how I feel about a lot of these Indiegogo projects. I mean, there's some that like I wouldn't buy because I just don't like the art isn't my thing, or I don't think it's good enough. And but it's at the same time it doesn't get me mad. It actually like, it's inspiring because at least these people are trying and you can tell they have a passion for it and stuff. Like some of these books um, you see through the major two, three, you're like, what, like, do they do they even want to be here? Like, what is this? Like, what are we pulling off here? So, yeah, that's where I stand with that stuff. But
Sometimes if it's cartoony or if it's as long as it's consistent. But I mean,
yeah, consistency's
that as well.
key too. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice when everything looks like it was done by the same person with the, same amount of energy dedicated. And look, I get it that these people have deadlines they have to hit, they have to meet and all that. But I also get that they're working with a team,
Yeah.
and you can't always just blame the artist. You gotta blame Marvel and DC at some point too. Well,
But
more Marvel than
you need
anything.
an
Like,
editor that's going to be like, all right, no. You
yeah,
need an editor
like,
that'll say no. No, you need to fix that.
yeah, exactly. And it's just really upsetting when you see stuff like that, and then like I see other artists, and from my personal experience, like, you know, sometimes it takes me 25, 30 hours to draw a single page out. Like it takes forever. And,
No, no,
you
I was
know,
watching your video. It took like seconds.
yeah. Yeah, so once again, the computer, the magic of the computer. But yeah, it takes forever to do. And I'm taking photos and I'm finding reference and stuff like that to make sure that the hand looks like it should be there. It looks like a hand. It looks, correctly drawn. And
Remember,
you know,
I read a lot about if anybody is trying to get into the industry as an artist or anything, uh, Todd McFarlane. Follow Todd McFarlane.
oh yeah,
Watch all the videos about him. What he used to do was when he wanted to learn to draw a hand, he would spend like all day drawing hands, or for a
uh-huh,
whole week, he would just draw hands in different positions and stuff. And then be
oh
like,
yeah,
oh, now I'm going to draw feet. Well, now I'm going to
yep,
draw, arms. I'm going to draw your
uh-huh,
biceps. I'm gonna draw, he would do that. Like he would just focus on one thing at a time for like
yeah,
days at a time to make sure he had that right and to make
yeah,
sure he understood all the mechanics of how fingers work and how they bend and stuff like that.
yeah. No, and I mean, that's the only way people get better. Like with drawing. I mean, there's no easy way about it. And, you know, people are always like, well, he's more talented or something like that. Like, talent exists like in the first part of the race. Like when you're young and stuff like that, yes, there's people that just have a knack for things and they're just better than other people. But there is a point where that only takes you so far. And then after that, it's just work. It's just repetition. It's studying. It's looking at other artists. It's just, dedicating all of your free time into getting better. And like when you see really good artists, it's not an accident. Like they didn't accidentally become a really good artist. Like they worked their ass off, and other artists know it. Like it's not a secret or anything like that. It's like the only way you're going to get better at this stuff is by just putting in the hours. And it's just frustrating to see Marvel just kind of pass that up,
Yeah, well,
at least with their interiors, and just let these mediocre clown shoes draw their books for them, and then you know
talent,
whatever.
talent to me is like, I mean, everybody's brain isn't exactly the same. Some
Yeah.
people, they make the connections differently.
Uh-huh.
Some people that for whatever reason, to start, like you said at the beginning,
Yeah, at the beginning.
make
Uh-huh.
that connection between looking at something and be able to draw it out.
Uh-huh.
But it's still, if you, but that again, like you said, that only goes so far.
Yeah.
But you can also, if that's not what your inclination is, by practice and repetition, you're doing the same thing. You're training
Mm-hmm.
your brain to make those connections.
Yes.
And that's where all the practice and the real hard work comes in. You can be talented all day long
Uh-huh.
and be lazy, and you're not going to be as good as the guy who didn't start
Who's
out that way but works every single day and
Yeah. No,
does
I
every single
you
day.
see, you really see that in art school. Like when I went to art school, I saw like our freshman year was a foundation year where you just learn all the fundamentals of drawing and color and all that stuff. And you know, when I went in there, I saw people that I thought were amazing. Like I was like, I don't even belong in the same school, the same building with these people. And then I saw other people that weren't near as good as them. And by the time we graduated, s- some of those people that weren't, at the top of the class freshman year were the ones that went on and actually made a living because they worked and they got they developed a work ethic, and they took their criticism, because like in art school people just tear your stuff apart. Like it's hard. It sucks because it's not like online where you don't see the person and they just write some mean thing, whatever. It's like you've
I,
got yeah, it's eye to eye, and like a whole room of people just looking at you and being like, this isn't working. You need to go back. Or sometimes it'd be like, you shouldn't be in the school. Like you'd get stuff like that too from teachers. Like not me personally, but I did see a few people get tore down like that. And you know,
without trying to, I'm not trying to dox you or anything, but
oh no. No.
do you use your art degree in your 9 to 5 job?
Yes, I actually do. For my 9 to 5 job, I am a 3D modeler for a company here in Columbus that I don't care if people know what city I live in, whatever. But yeah, here in Columbus, and I do a lot of sculpting of like, well, 3D modeling, sculpting of characters for a lot of anime. I've worked with Marvel, Walking Dead. I've done a ton of things. Just Pokemon, Fallout,
You
all sorts of.
modeling for video games? Is that
I don't do it for video games. It goes into merchandise. So like, it can be anything from um, like little collectible figures, or sometimes it becomes mugs. It can become keychains. They do all sorts of stuff with the models I create. But it's a really cool job because I get to work with all sorts of insane properties. Like today, I sculpted Slimer from
oh cool.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, so that's what I do during the day. I sculpt digitally. Everything's digitally now. So yeah,
That's
but
pretty cool.
yeah, no, I can't complain. I have fun jobs.
Always something
So
to complain about.
Oh no, but trust me, I could always find something to complain about. I'm trying to be positive or something here. Yeah,
I can always.
but but no, this stuff did just fall in my lap. It took, I worked horrible jobs all through my 20s,
Hmm.
like, you know, working third shift jobs and having a baby at home, and my wife's working during the day, and I'm going to school. It was awful. It sucked so bad. But, if you keep on keeping on, whatever, sometimes things work out. And for the time being, they're working out. So can't complain too much. Yeah. So
The coolest job.
what's that? I'm sorry.
My wife just said you have the coolest job. You have a
Oh,
cool.
it's pretty cool. I should probably post up some of my actual 3D stuff one of these days.
That's the kind of thing I know people would like to see.
Yeah. And
People want to see. I mean, as much as people like to see your work, they like to know about the artists, and they feel more connected to the work when they know a
uh-huh.
little more about the artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Like with my Twitter right now, it's mostly been all Oddity stuff because I'm just, you know, I'm branding this thing. I'm
Yeah.
throwing it out there and I'm trying to get as many eyes on it as possible. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could
How like on a pinup like you got if you did that in black and white, about how long would it take you to do that?
like just the ink drawing, whatever, the
Yeah, just if
of
you were
that.
like a pinup like that.
Um, just that alone, probably 5 or 6 hours, I imagine, something like
I
that.
know they have the drawn and quartered fan edition,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
the winner of that one gets to go to the big show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
If you can draw fast enough, you should consider doing that.
Yeah. See, and I mean, they're pretty finished drawings they do on
Mhm.
there. Like I see them and they're pretty well done. Um, but when I do a drawing like a pinup like that, I'm zoomed in on some stuff and I'm taking my time because I want this thing
Yeah.
to be perfect. And actually, this cover, this plain white one with
Hmm.
Oddity, him jumping, that was a promo piece I did. The actual cover is like this. It's got like this sunset background, and he's like leaping into frame, and then it's got like the swamp underneath him, and then like this toxic waste barrel, and then his hideout and stuff like that. It really gives you a feel of how the book will be. So I don't know if you've come across that at all, but
The cover of
um,
2 that's on your video
yeah, 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 that's the cover.
pose.
Yeah, if you look at the part two of it,
Hmm.
um, it will show you the finished piece.
Trailer in the tree, and
Yeah, if you go to the end, you'll see it. Yeah, now hopefully you don't hear my stupid voice.
I would get another computer up running, looking at it. It's cool as hell. Now, the character, his whole point is to keep people out of the swamp, so that
Yeah, it's
they
like a
don't get all toxic wasted.
they'll get toxic wasted, dude. Like we don't need toxic wasted people running around the world, okay?
I just copyrighted that term. Can't use it anymore.
What's that?
So I just copyrighted that term, so you can't use it anymore.
Well, that's a good move on you. Maybe we'll see.
Fantastic! You're gonna do a 3D model of Oddity.
Yeah, I will do that. I want to get the book done, and then maybe I'll do another campaign for a figure. Like I've sculpted plenty of, action figure type characters, and so I mean it takes some work finding the right vendor and everything. But yeah, that's something I'm really interested in
If you went
doing.
to the company you worked with, would they be like, "Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll help you with that."
No, because the company I work for only wants to work with giant.
They're with the big companies. They're with the big.
Yes,
big
like they want well-established brands that they know they can sell things. Yeah, I mean they're a company.
Yeah,
They're not there to help me. Like,
well, I know they wouldn't want you to do it for free. I was just curious if
yeah,
stuff they can do, but yeah, they want the business.
no. Now I could use some of the contacts through my work to get things printed out and stuff like that. But yeah, we used to have a giant 3D printer. It was actually kind of sweet because I would sneak prints in there every once in a while, print out some cool little things, and they never know unless they watch this and then.
They
Excuse me?
They didn't keep inventory on the plastic?
No, they didn't. I don't know. I was in charge of it all, so
all right.
I kept inventory on it, and nothing was ever missing. It's pretty insane. So yeah, but with this campaign though, I was like, you have different tiers, different levels, and stuff like that. And since I'm not like I could do original. Like I could do a few original pieces to sell, like out of the book. But in order to do that, like I'd print out my drawing, um, onto Bristol board, and then I'd ink it by hand, and then do that. And I don't. I'm sure people still dig that, but
you decide you're going to do like, you know, different tiers, and you're going to do little toys or models or whatever. Is you don't have to pay another guy to do it. You're already experienced doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do this. I can do all that except printing it, and I mean, if it was a little bit farther into the future where people could get their stuff printed out right away, it'd be awesome because I would just do files for people to print out. And you can do that now. It's just expensive. Like you can take a file and go have it printed for you, but it's definitely a little pricey. And that was one of my ideas when I first started this was, should I do like a little collectible or anything? And then after seeing some people talk about postage with just mailing things out and like the nightmare that they were having, I was like, you know what? Let's just keep it simple for this first book, and
Yeah, what's nice with the Indiegogo, I guess, is you can kind of gauge that interest.
yeah.
Okay, if for whatever reason all of a sudden it takes off while you're doing the Indiegogo, and you're like, oh well, now I can add that up.
Exactly, and that's another reason why I want to get the book out on Indiegogo now is because it's picking up some momentum, and I don't want to just keep drawing this thing out and like hoping more people jump on whatever. Like eventually I just want to get this up. And I've had so many people contact me like, when are you going to put it up on Indiegogo? Like, when are you going to do this? And you keep saying it's going to come soon. I'm like, it will. It'll eventually drop. But
one more thing to take away from your actually drawing the book is now you have to do marketing.
Yeah. And
now you've got not only your 9-to-5 job, your family, and drawing. Now you have to market while you're drawing.
Oh yeah, and
it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, and I've had enough dirty looks from my wife and kids constantly being on my phone and
Yeah, I get that too.
Tweeting stuff out.
Not even to production like you are.
The last couple of days have been awful, like with my phone, and like my wife would be like, "You've been home since 5:30. It's 11:30, and you have not put your phone down." I'm like,
"Are you sure that you're not married to the same woman I am?" I'm gonna have a talk with my wife when we get off.
Yeah, like it's. I think all wives can just agree with that. Like guys get addicted on the phone. It happens. But yeah, and then my daughter, she sounds just like my wife, and she just starts laying into me the same way. I'm like, geez, Pete, people.
I got a 6-year-old, and every once in a while he'll get on my case too.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, it's only going to get worse. Yeah. But now I'm gonna have to pack it up here in a few because I have kids that are looking in at me right now.
That is not a problem. We
Yeah, but I think we got a solid hour in here or so. And no, but I really appreciate you having me come on here, and I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a
Uh,
lot of fun.
yeah, I'm sorry if I ranted on about myself a little bit too much. My bad, guys.
We got one more question. Jim
Go shoot.
wants to know if you have any idea what your tiers are going to be for your Indiegogo.
Oh, I I've got some ideas in my head. I there'll definitely be the digital option and then the print option. That's as far as I can go right now.
I know,
Farther on down the line, um, I was thinking about maybe having, if we reach a certain amount, maybe doing like hard enamel pins or something like that, which I think could be kind of cool.
check
And
out
there's
check out Alterna's site. They're doing he's starting to do the partnerships now, where you
okay.
have to put Alterna on the cover if that's not what you want to do.
No,
But
that's a great idea, actually.
newsprint is actually really good as far as bringing down your printing costs.
Hmm. No, that's a really good idea. I need suggestions like that because
Yeah,
it's all new to me right now.
go
It's
to Alterna's site. There's a thing I think on printing partnerships or something.
okay, cool.
The prices are
Now,
ridiculously low compared to what I've seen for doing the
yeah,
you're getting it on newsprint, so it's obviously it's going to be that. But I mean,
yeah.
when you're doing on better quality paper, you're paying that premium price too.
Hmm. No, I've definitely delved into some of the prices, and yeah, it can be a bit intimidating. But if it's a successful campaign, then
And
you do it.
maybe Alterna will pick it up if you said.
Yeah, I'll definitely contact them, see what's up. But no, man, I really appreciate, you know, having me come on here and, you
Everybody
know,
knows about your YouTube page and your Twitter, so we can follow you.
yeah, let me see. Do I just throw it in down here?
Well, he won't be able to post anything in the chat,
Yeah,
but
no, I got you.
once
Okay, yeah,
post in the
I'll
chat,
hit you up on.
when we put this up, we'll put it up in the descriptions.
All right, awesome, awesome. All right, dude. Well, I appreciate it, Dave, and
You have a good
you
night.
have, you do the same, man. All right, talk to you later, dude.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks all two of you that stopped by to check us out. Y'all have a good night, and hopefully, if you've got a project coming up, or if you know somebody's got a project and they're looking to get their name out a little bit, tell them to feel free to give me a call or give me a notification on Twitter. Also, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and set your notifications. And maybe in another few weeks or hopefully, I want to try to start doing this a little more on the regular, uh, pitching pitching good books and stuff like that. On my Twitter, I'm gonna be doing that too. Whenever I find something, if something comes across, like I said, give me a follow and give me a shout. Say, hey, check out this project. I'll have a look and I'll retweet it. And if you want, we can set up and do a show like this. All right. So everybody have a good night, and I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see y'all on Twitter.